Good morning. Yes, I can hear you now.
All right, there we go. Now, Zakhele, in simple terms, what does the current economic downgrade mean for the property industry?
So, the current economic downgrade is a welcome relief for property investors. What one should do is use that little bit of relief and put it towards your bonds, such that when things are regulated, one can really benefit from this relief. It'll probably put a lot of fear in a lot of people's minds because cash flow is going to become a big problem. But we got to take the situation and take what the government has given in terms of relief, what the Reserve Bank has given in terms of relief, and use it to our advantage.
So how would you say then this virus has affected the property industry?
So I think it's done two things. One, which is good or bad, it's created relationships. So there's relationships between landlords and tenants, which could have been broken and been very, very sticky. But now it's forced people to have that communication and have a conversation about the realities of the situation. And two, what it's also really done is expose those that have made poor investments in the beginning, because we're going to see those coming up in the market very, very soon.
And just how different has it been for you guys since people cannot actually go out and view homes? And how have you been able to accommodate such and just working around it? Because I see that so many, property brokers and property companies are still advertising houses and homes for sale on social media and on various other platforms. So how would people be able to view those homes?
So at the moment, we're making do with what we can. We're using technology in the spaces that we can. Prop tech is going to be coming up within the market, whereby we'll be able to view houses without actually physically being there. So a lot of advances within the industry are already being looked at to try to accommodate this. But we're definitely in a position whereby people do want to physically go see properties, and we can't. So the market's actually very, very stagnant at the moment.
And Zakhele, you mainly focus on student accommodation. Now, with the coronavirus in full effect and with schools and being closed, how have you been managing?
It's been tough. I've managed to re-strategize, and I've got young professionals in my student accommodation. But a lot of people wouldn't have had that opportunity to be able to re-strategize and get tenants in. So there's student accommodation sitting empty at the moment. Or there's people who have got student accommodations that have tenants who couldn't leave for the lockdown, and they're just sitting there and using up utilities at the moment.
And is there perhaps potential for the industry to pick up, be it now or even later on in the year?
I definitely think this is a great opportunity with what the Reserve Bank has done. It's opening the gates for first-time buyers, people who hadn't owned property. This is the best time to buy. When I come to think of it, I actually recorded a first-time buying product that helps buyers in terms of this period of doubt and uncertainty, going through all the emotions that you're going to go through to make a purchase in this time and thereafter.
Well, you're saying that this is actually the best time to buy, and I quite agree with the interest rates now being favorable. But then, do people have the buying power? Because now we know that some people do not have income, and some people, their salaries will be cut in half as a result of the stagnation of the economy and the coronavirus. But do people have the buying power?
So this is where I think education comes in key, is that there are many creative strategies that one can use to acquire property. So you might not have the buying power now, but you could work around your personal finances and work around what strategies are available, using other people's money, using the financial institutes that are there, and still come out on top in the situation. The fact that interest rates are low, it is definitely a favorable time to be considering, if you haven't already got property, to be considering getting into the property market. But I definitely go on, get the education, because if you get your numbers right in the beginning, you wouldn't have to worry about this economic downturn and the pandemic that we're in at the moment.
But the reality is, Zakhele, people are still worrying about this economic downturn and the stagnation of the economy. Do you think that the property market will be severely affected as a result of that?
I definitely do think the property market's going to be severely affected, because the reality is there are people who actually can't pay for their rentals. And that in turn means there's going to be landlords who can't pay for bonds. And now what's that going to do with the bank? The bank is also going to be under pressure to deal with people who can't pay for the loans that they've given out. So it will have a ripple effect. It should, I think, have a buying frenzy for those that actually end up panicking. and selling to try to get more cash flow. But I think for the long term, people should try to hold onto their properties and use that money into their bonds. So any additional income during this time, put it to your bond.
So from what you've seen or heard, those who still cannot afford to pay rent, do the landlords, are the landlords complying, or are they being cooperative in allowing them, to go rent-free for quite some time?
So, this is what I opened it with, that you need to have this conversation. I on myself, I've had my conversation with my tenants, and I said I've got relief from the Reserve Bank, got relief from my banking institute. I can transfer that to you as a tenant. You need to be able to see what can you do in these economic times to keep that relationship, because post this lockdown, you're still going to have a tenant and landlord relationship. So you need to try and maintain it early through the communication. And where tenants can't pay, it's not because they don't want to pay, and you shouldn't be enforcing the full arm of the law if they don't want to pay. It's solely because of the situation, and we've got to be mindful of what is happening. So as landlords, we need to play our part to assist tenants to get through the situation.
Now, Zakhele, before I let you go, for someone looking to buy or rent property now, what advice would you have for them?
So I think if you're looking to buy or rent property now, there's only 3 ways to make sure that you get a good deal. One is to educate yourself on property, because the numbers are what's going to get you through. So 2 is then to get someone to hold your hand through this investment period, because it's going to be a very difficult time. And 3, go back to the education. If it's not working out, educate yourself, and then you'd get through. And then the time is now. There's no better time to start buying. With everything that's happening, the time is now to start buying.
All right, Zakhele, great chatting to you, man. Thank you so much for your time and for your thoughts. Much appreciated.
Thank you very much.
We just spoke to Zakhele Myeza, the owner of the bus stop, on the current state of the property industry that it finds itself in since the economic downgrade. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.